Hello everyone, and welcome to my General Hospital official channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. According to General Hospital spoilers, the plot aftermath of Giovanni Gio Palmieri's revelation has arrived, with confrontations, face-offs and tears taking center stage. The revelation that Gio is the son of Brooklyn Quartermaine Chase and Dante Falconeri has a significant impact on numerous characters on the canvas in Port Charles, spanning three major families: the Quartermaines, the Corinthos clan, and the Falconeris. As everyone involved processes the news regarding Gio, fans will be astounded by the three unexpected turns listed below. 1. Joe's voice of reason is Tracy. If Tracy Quartermaine takes over as the voice of reason in any situation, GH fans are aware that something must be seriously wrong, right? Jokes aside, according to General Hospital spoilers, Gio is probably going to try to leave the Quartermaine home by packing his luggage during the Tuesday, May 27th episode. It might be too much for him to continue living with the same people who betrayed it after everything he's learned. It's difficult to pinpoint Joe's exact thoughts and emotions at the moment. He doesn't know the complete story, but he thinks that Brooklyn and Dante didn't want to. According to a scene from Tuesday's episode, Tracy might stop him as he and Emma Scorpio Drake try to exit the Q mansion. Tracy might be the one to tell Gio that although he feels deceived and has every right to feel that way, many of the residents of the Q house, including herself, were unaware that he was related to them and that they do want him around. Unaware that they were related by blood, she has developed a bond with Gio and might persuade him to remain so they can continue to grow closer. Could he relocate into the gatehouse to maintain his privacy while being on Q property? 2. Gio shuts out Brooklyn by gravitating toward Dante. Brooklyn made the decision to place Gio for adoption, even though she doesn't deserve to be excluded. She was the one who ultimately approved of the situation, even though she was unaware that Gio was her son while she was growing up in Bensonhurst, and some could contend that Lois Cerullo convinced Brooklyn that adoption was the only option. The connection between Gio and Dante has been difficult lately, but can the young man let his father into his heart since Dante was totally unaware of it? Compared to Brooklyn, will Gio be more willing to connect and form a relationship with Dante? Dante can argue that he was never given an option and was unaware of Brooklyn's pregnancy. Is Gio going to pay attention? 3. Emma and Gio consolidate their love. For a few weeks now, Gio and Emma Scorpio Drake have been flirting with one another. There is nothing like turmoil to pull two people together, even though they have developed a pleasant friendship and are both in love. Will these two establish a romance in the process? Emma went to Joe's side following his performance at the nurses' ball, and will continue to encourage him. According to General Hospital teasers, Gio and Emma might have a lip lock, if not more, as his world continues to fall apart after discovering the truth about his origins. There were a lot of surprises during this year's nurses' ball on General Hospital, from Gio discovering the truth about his parents to Michael's last-minute comeback. However, it is to be anticipated for the hospital's major fundraising event. The nurses' ball coincided with a real-life surprise that we weren't prepared for. As it happens, one of the real-life couples on General Hospital was able to celebrate their wedding anniversary while looking gorgeous. The news and some incredibly cute photos of the happy pair were posted via the show's official X/Twitter account. The show tweeted, "Fun fact. Ada Turner has a long history with the evil Jen Sidwell. While we were filming this year's nurses' ball, actors Carlo Rota and Nazneen Contractor celebrated their wedding anniversary. The more you understand." Even in the early days of Contractor's run, we were aware that the actors were a loving real-life couple. She even discussed some potentially difficult topics that arise when two performers are married to one another with Maurice Bernard for his State of Mind vlog. We remarked that it sounds as though Contractor and Rhoda handle married acting life so effortlessly that it makes us all jealous. We would want to wish Rhoda and Contractor the happiest of anniversaries, and we regret for coming a little late. The nurses' ball was taped a few weeks ago. I hope they are all as unforgettable as this year's was. General Hospital is no longer a secret, and it is definitely not returning. With little Gio now aware that Dante and Brooklyn are his biological parents, and even more shocking that they are as well, the upcoming week on ABC's soap opera will be filled with non-stop turmoil. Lois is in the spotlight as she tries to explain why she covertly had her cousin adopt the love child of Dante and Brooke Lynn when the next episode premieres on Tuesday, May 27th. Let's just say that tensions will be high. Dominic Zamprogna tells Soap Opera Digest that the mother-daughter showdown really contains what may be the best scenes I've ever seen. The emotional exchange is expected to change Dante's perspective on the situation as a whole. Seeing her sad changes his point of view, even though at first he questions whether Brooke Lynn knew about her and Dante's family connections to Gio and decided to keep her baby daddy in the dark. There is still a part of him that is like, well, am I the only one that didn't know? Despite his empathy, Dante and Brooke Lynn make the almost impossible endeavor to get in touch with Gio on Wednesday, May 28th. Will Gio be open to hearing what the former lovers have to say, though, given how upset and furious he is and how many times Dante slapped him over the coals for Rocco's alcohol poisoning? Gio closes Brooke Lynn out and gives Dante his heart. Relationship dynamics in Port Charles are constantly shifting, and fans are intrigued by the most recent change involving Gio, Brooke Lynn, and Dante. Gio, who at one point appeared to have a strong bond with Brooke Lynn, has suddenly unexpectedly chosen to cut her out of his life and focus his emotional energies on Dante. What caused this abrupt transition, and what it means for these characters' futures, are the questions raised by this unanticipated turn of events. Gio and Brooke Lynn had a relationship that seemed to be getting closer over time. They appeared to understand one another in ways that others did not, regardless of whether their connection was romantic or just a close friendship. But something has changed, maybe a miscommunication, a betrayal, or just Gio recognizing that his emotions were taking him in a different route. Regardless of the cause, his decision to cut ties with Brooke Lynn points to a dramatic change in his emotional state. The fact that he has cut himself off from her suggests that this was a conscious and perhaps painful choice rather than an impulsive one. However, Joe's newly discovered candor toward Dante is just as appealing. Dante, a figure renowned for his fidelity and strong moral compass, might stand in for the security and comprehension Gio longs for. The fact that Gio is willing to let Dante in after shoving Brooke Lynn out says a lot, regardless of whether their relationship is platonic or suggests something more. Perhaps Dante provides Gio with the kind of assistance he needs right now. Someone who listens without passing judgment, and who imparts knowledge without coercion. Meanwhile, Brooke Lynn must deal with Joe's rejection. His abrupt disengagement could leave her feeling bewildered and abandoned if she had grown to rely on him emotionally. She could wonder if there was anything she might have done differently or what she did wrong. Will she strive to win back his trust, or will she accept the distance and move on her own? Her response to this change will be telling. The hurt of being rejected by someone she cared about won't go away easy, but Brooke Lynn's strong character may allow her to use this suffering for personal development. It's also important to consider Dante's part in all of this. What does he think of Gio suddenly turning to him? Does he understand the significance of this change? Or is he just lending a sympathetic ear without understanding its full ramifications? Dante's reaction might either strengthen their relationship or cause new issues if Gio feels more than just friendship with him. As a guy who has always valued honesty and integrity, Dante is likely to confront Gio head-on, rather than allow miscommunications to fester, if he detects that Gio is looking for anything more. This plot's wider ramifications go beyond these three persons alone. In Port Charles, relationships are rarely isolated. Every choice has an impact on friendships, alliances, and families. How will Gio and Dante's relationships with others change if they become closer? Will there be further trouble if Brooke Lynn's family notices her distress? What implications does this have for upcoming plots? Is it merely a brief emotional realignment, or the start of a new romance? Joe's change could be interpreted as a sign of a more profound internal conflict. He may be trying to get clarity by separating himself from Brooke Lynn, since he has been doubting his own feelings for a while. He may be seeking a different kind of relationship, one that is more in line with who he really is by opening up to Dante. If so, themes like self-discovery and the bravery required to accept change, even when it causes harm to others, could be explored in this plot. On the other hand, there can be outside influences involved. Was Gio coerced into pushing Brooke Lynn away by someone? Schemes and covert intentions are nothing new to Port Charles, and it's plausible that an outside power is affecting his choices. If that is the case, the truth might eventually surface, resulting in either a more profound separation or a dramatic confrontation and possible reconciliation. One should not undervalue the emotional toll that this scenario has taken. It hurts to be excluded by someone you care about, and Brooke Lynn's response will show how strong and vulnerable she is. Even though he isn't totally certain what that is yet, Joe's readiness to open up to Dante indicates that he is looking for something significant. Being in the middle, Dante will need to carefully manage this new dynamic, particularly if he values both relationships. Viewers will be eagerly monitoring the plot to determine whether Joe's decisions result in further heartache or healing. Will Brooke Lynn be able to return to his life, or will this breakup be permanent? What does Dante actually mean to Gio? Is he a confidant, a buddy, or something else entirely? Time will tell, but one thing is for sure. Port Charles's drama has gained another fascinating dimension thanks to this passionate triangle. This plot revolves around the intricacy of interpersonal relationships. The tangled, erratic nature of friendship and love is reflected in Joe's choice to embrace Dante while excluding Brooke Lynn. Individuals develop, emotions shift, and sometimes the most difficult decisions are the ones that best characterize us. It remains to be seen if this results in atonement, regret, or a fresh start, but the ride is sure to be captivating. Joe's actions serve as a reminder that the heart isn't always rational in a world where allegiances are continually put to the test. Although it might appear harsh, his rejection of Brooke Lynn might have been an effort of self-preservation. Similarly, his willingness to be truthful with Dante could be the beginning of a more genuine and profound relationship. The emotional stakes will only increase as these three characters work through their changing dynamics, keeping fans interested at every turn. This plot ultimately revolves around the decisions we make and the individuals we allow into our life. Gio has made the decision to open one door while closing another. Will he discover what he's seeking for, or will he discover what he left behind too late? The answers will come to light in the coming days, but one thing is certain: the path of the heart is never easy in Port Charles. As Gio consciously chooses to cut Brooke Lynn out of his life while also exposing his heart to Dante, the complex web of connections in Port Charles has taken yet another drastic turn. This emotional turn is not merely a change in love. Rather, it is a complicated transformation that reveals a great deal about Joe's internal conflict, unresolved emotions, and the erratic nature of interpersonal relationships. The effects of this choice go well beyond these three people. They will have an impact on friendships, family relationships, and future encounters in ways that will surely influence Port Charles's emotional climate for weeks or perhaps months to come. Gio and Brooke Lynn had a seemingly unbreakable friendship for a long time. They seemed to understand each other better than other people, whether their connection was romantic or just a close platonic friendship. They seemed to be comfortable with one another, which implied emotional dependence and trust. It's possible that Brooke Lynn, with her fiery disposition and unyielding resolve, saw Gio as a balancing influence who helped her stay grounded when things got out of control. On the other hand, Gio might have valued her audacity, her determination to back down from a challenge, and the manner she challenged him. Each filled the voids in the other's life, and their relationship was one of balance. What changed then? Why would Gio abruptly distance himself from someone who had formerly had such significance for him? A number of reasons, some evident and others hidden beneath layers of unsaid emotions, are probably responsible for the answer. Maybe Gio started to feel that their friendship wasn't helping him as much as it used to. Perhaps he felt that his own feelings were changing in a way he wasn't prepared to face, or that Brooke Lynn's expectations of him were changing. Another possibility is that he was compelled to reconsider their relationship by an outside circumstance, such as a betrayal, a miscommunication, or even outside intervention. He did not make the decision to exclude her lightly, regardless of the reason behind it. He may not even completely realize the internal turmoil that is implied by his act of distancing himself. It's especially telling how Gio has cut himself off from Brooke Lynn. In order to make it obvious that he no longer wants her in his emotional space, he has not only retreated but also built walls. Self-preservation is frequently the reason behind this type of intentional retreat. Gio might think it would be too difficult or unpleasant to continue their relationship the way it is. Alternatively, he may be shielding himself from emotions he isn't prepared to confront, such as shame, unrequited love, or a fear of showing weakness. In any event, his behavior has left Brooke Lynn in shock, and forced to deal with the abrupt loss of a person she previously trusted. According to General Hospital spoilers, the majority of soap opera relationships begin with tension before blossoming into love. Because of this, a lot of fans have expressed disbelief at the back-to-back scenes at the nurses' ball between Sonny Corinthos and Justine Turner, the ADA from Port Charles. On Wednesday, May 21st, the assistant district attorney and the mob leader happened to cross paths and struck up a discussion. Justine quickly made fun of Sonny by saying that while this could be her first nurses' ball, it might be his last after the town referendum because he will undoubtedly leave after he loses his piercings. Sonny made it clear from away that nobody could force him to leave town. In the Thursday, May 22nd episode, Sonny and Anna Devane were discussing the significance of the nurses' ball to them, due to Stone Cates and Robin Scorpio Drake. After Justine made a crude comment about how close Sonny and Anna looked, the mob leader reprimanded her, reminding her that they were discussing the two individuals who were the reason for the nurses' ball, and that she should look up the names of Robin and Stone. Having said that, viewers of GH are aware that Justine doesn't particularly like Anna or Jason Morgan. In fact, she said that when Stone Cold was suspected of being responsible for Cyrus Renault's death, Anna used her job at the PCPD to shield Jason. This is among the reasons Jason and Anna have deliberately avoided one another. Therefore, it isn't shocking that the ADA wouldn't like Sonny. Will Justine, however, be able to see more of Sonny after learning of his relationship with Stone? Will she research both his and Robin's names and discover the reason behind Sonny and Anna's bond? Could this lead to further conflict between ADA and the mob boss? If the soap opera wasn't testing Sonny and Justine's compatibility, then why all the scenes together? Since he recently expelled Natalia Ramirez from his life for pretending to be Jen Sidwell's ex-wife, Sonny is alone and has no chance of finding love again. Furthermore, Carly Spencer's affair with Jack Brennan makes his sporadic relationship with her everything from on again. Fans are reminded by General Hospital spoilers that opposites attract and relationships in Port Charles can be complex. Is the soap opera taking a chance with this kind of plot by dating Sonny and Justine? A mob leader falling in love with an assistant district attorney is about as Romeo and Juliet-ish as it gets. According to General Hospital spoilers, the week of May 26th to 30th will revolve around the fallout from two significant revelations: Giovanni Gio Palmieri's parental secret reveal and Michael Corinthos' return to Port Charles. When Carly Spencer informed Lulu Spencer that she had gotten what she desired on Friday, May 23rd, she expressed it best. Lulu was eager to inform Dante Falconeri about their teenage pregnancy, and how Brooke Lynn Quartermaine Chase had concealed it from him. After learning that Gio was the long-lost son of Dante and Brooke Lynn, Lulu went all out to expose the fraud, in part because she included Cody Bell in the process. He urged her to proceed after she expressed her opinions to him. Gio is the largest sufferer in all of this, and regrettably, a lot of others in Port Charles are currently suffering. According to General Hospital previews, Cody will feel a great deal of guilt about what he did and didn't do when this secret was revealed, and Dante is going to get mad at Lulu for her part in it all. Dante won't be the only one, though, who is upset with Lulu. Maxie Jones will undoubtedly be repulsed by the behavior of her best friend and pseudo-brother, and Tracy Quartermaine, one of their strongest supporters, will be dissatisfied with both of them. Will these two be ostracized from the village, as these are only three of the slew characters on screen who are likely to be upset? Will the relationship between Molly Lansing Davis and Cody, which appears to be going well, end abruptly after she learns of his actions? The slow-burning romance between Lulu and Dante will undoubtedly end badly. Carly, Laura Collins, and Lucky Spencer will undoubtedly not abandon Lulu, but since each of them is preoccupied with their own crisis, and since she was warned, none of them will be able to support her through this one. Would the Quartermaine stables fire Cody? The family may be QS as Gio and Brooke Lynn are, and Lulu won't be allowed in the estate, at least temporarily, until things settle down. Given how long they have been friends, it is unfortunate that Brooke Lynn will not want to interact with Cody. Could being the odd ones in town help Cody and Lulu connect? They might not be completely outcasts, but their usual group of friends will avoid them. They might become closer since they are the only two individuals who can relate to their situation. Could they, however, err on the side of romance or even go too far if feelings are strong? Anything is conceivable since, according to General Hospital spoilers, The dynamics of Port Charles have formally altered since the 2025 Nurses' Ball, and all of the tumultuous incidents that followed. Portia pleaded with Curtis on the terrace of the Metro Court Garden not to leave in a rage. Consider the lovely family we have created together. Honey, please. Keep our marriage intact. Portia pleaded. Don't destroy everything we've created because I made a mistake. At least he didn't endanger Trina and their family, but Curtis said he has been the only one thinking about them. What we created was stolen by you and you destroyed it. You lied because you didn't trust me enough to be honest with me. You followed Drew's instructions and exposed our entire family to him. Not just to yourself, Curtis remarked. Curtis said he wanted to present a united front to Drew. Therefore he wasn't going to break up with her just yet. To keep Drew from pursuing Portia and Trina, he was prepared to put up a public front, but he insisted that it was all a lie. Let's just get through tonight, stated Curtis. Later, as Curtis was bringing his wife a drink, Nina discovered Portia by herself. When Nina informed Portia that Curtis was beginning to suspect her, Portia informed her that Curtis was aware that Drew was using blackmail against her. Nina and Carly bumped into each other in the ladies' room, just like their kids had done before them. Carly was reassured by Nina that she wouldn't be attending round 2. You accelerated the court date, and I sincerely hoped our détente would have succeeded. Just keep this in mind. You're responsible for whatever comes next, Carly said. When Nina informed Carly that she would testify that Michael had abandoned his own children, Carly became infuriated. So you're just going to perjure yourself because nothing could be further from the truth, Carly replied. It was all about perspective, Nina said. He didn't even care enough about his children to let Willow talk to him about them, Nina said. Nina further threatened to ensure that the court was aware that the mother was the sole parent who had provided for the children's needs. At the ball, Jocelyn saw Vaughn in between musical performances and struck up a conversation with him until Carly came up to them and inquired about Joss's new buddy. Vaughn informed Carly that Joss and he were PCU classmates. Carly sought information when Vaughn went to get a drink. He's adorable. What's up with that guy? She inquired. It had certainly paid off, and Ned thanked Sonny at the ballroom lobby bar for funding Joe's music studies. What we witnessed tonight on stage. He was outstanding, Ned said. He's a wonderful child. I'm glad to assist, Sonny remarked. When Ned saw Willow and Drew, he turned to go. You're a bitch, son, Ned remarked. Don't think for a moment that I'm going to let you get away with setting up my mother. Ned didn't believe Drew when he pretended to be stupid. My mother wouldn't be careless enough to leave traces of a crime in her own car, as we both know. You're written all over this, he continued. Then Ned looked at Willow, wondering if she had suddenly discovered her brain. Drew is an unworthy jerk, Willow. We all tried not to assume anything about you. We thought Drew was manipulating you, and you are just as much of a victim as Michael, Ned remarked. Willow was not interested in hearing it. You can finally let go of that absurd notion. Neither Michael nor I are victims. When you refuse to even attempt to resolve an issue, you cannot be a victim, she stated. Willow described how Michael wouldn't even let her see her after she traveled all the way to Germany. Olivia's Brooklyn-style tirade was directed at Drew next. She advised Willow, don't expect any sympathy when this whole thing blows up in your face, and Willow groaned and rolled her eyes. Throughout the entire conversation, Sonny could be seen nodding and listening in the background. Throughout the ballroom, Drew maintained his belief that his scheme against Tracy was successful, and that Willow would be granted custody of her children. Nina came over to them and assured them that she would now fully support Willow and Drew. Backstage in the dressing room, Lois said nothing while Lulu swore. You're not surprised by this. Gio is your grandchild, as you are aware, she remarked smugly. You've been hiding that from him all your life. I have no idea where you obtained your information, but I am aware of whatever you may be suspecting, Lois remarked. It is completely none of your business. Lois, we have moved past mistrust. I am fully aware of it. I can prove that Gio is the son of Brooklyn and Dante, Lulu said. Lulu told Lois what she knew about Joe's mother and Brooklyn's pregnancy. Gio was born not in Los Angeles on June 4th as he believed, but in San Francisco on May 15th as baby boy Chirulo, said Lulu. Lucy presented the next act as Lois and Lulu quarreled backstage. The Look of Love, featuring Chase on lead vocals, was performed by Dante, Chase, Isaiah, and Cody. When Lucy discovered Chase and Brooklyn making out backstage after the show, she forced them to leave. Then Gio showed up, searching for Lois. Gio headed toward the dressing room, where Lucy claimed to have last seen her. At last, Lois went off in the changing room. "Why are you scurrying around trying to learn more about a topic that is completely unrelated to you, and about which you know nothing?" Lois remarked. "You are interfering with people's lives." "No, Lois, you are interfering with people's lives. Throughout Joe's life, you have been keeping him concealed in plain sight while lying to him for decades. Dante too? Because you and Brooklyn have been lying. He's had a son out there all this time about whom he knows nothing," Lulu said. "Brooklyn is unaware of Gio. You can't tell her otherwise," a distraught Lois yelled. "Because she might not even know that her son was on the opposite side of the globe. My mom and I were unable to let Gio leave. As her mother, I made the greatest choice I could at the moment by deciding to keep him near and hide the truth from Brooklyn." Lulu simply continued. "Joe's entire existence is a lie. He doesn't know his true origins. He is not the son of Camilla and Francis Palmieri. He belongs to Brooklyn and Dante. The only thing left to wonder is, who will be the one to tell him the truth?" Unaware that Gio was outside the door and had heard everything, Lulu inquired angrily. Lucy walked the stage and introduced the next performer, former child star and musical artist YD, while mayhem ensued backstage. Lois and Lulu were still fighting in the changing room. "Think about what you're doing and how many lives you're gonna destroy," Lois begged. Lulu was unconcerned. "You're doing something incorrectly. The lies are over. There have been enough of them." Before hurriedly leaving the room, Lulu said, "You have to tell Dante and Gio the truth tonight, or I'll tell them tomorrow." Gio was supposed to join Anna and Chase while they danced the tango, so Emma, Chase, and Anna wondered where he was. At last, Emma discovered a distressed Gio sitting by himself in the Metro Court Gardens. Emma reminded Gio that he needed to play the violin for Anna and Chase, even though she could feel something wasn't right. "Start playing. I have to play for them. I must play, because my mother gave me that as a gift." He looked into Emma's eyes and added, "I play the violin," with a note of sadness in his voice. "I learned everything from my mother. All I have left of her is that." Emma assured Gio that if he didn't feel like playing, he didn't have to. "Yes, I do," he said. "The show must continue," and then he left to play. When Gio showed up, Lucy felt relieved. As he entered the stage without a word, she gave him his instrument. Cody was informed by Lulu at the ballroom that she had just addressed Lois, and that Lois had validated her entire Gio idea. Soon after, Dante came up, and they struck up a conversation. Lois pulled Brooklyn aside as soon as she saw them. "We need to get out of here right now, okay?" Astonished, Lois told Brooklyn. Brooklyn declined. "Gio is about to play violin while my husband dances the tango," she stated. Brooklyn was determined not to let this opportunity pass. Sunny showed in and asked Lois what was happening after Brooklyn left. She confessed, "Sunny, I'm in terrible trouble." Gio was about to perform, but Sunny reassured her that they would correct it later. Gio started playing but stopped when he eventually returned to the stage. He announced to the crowd that he was going to try something new. His words were composed before he broke down. "I am going to dedicate this performance to my parents, Brooklyn Quartermain and Dante Falconeri," he stated. "I was rejected by two persons. I was not claimed by anyone. And who have been deceiving me all my life," he exclaimed, before destroying his violin and fleeing the ballroom. As Willow stood at the precipice of a life-altering decision, she realized that love was not just about passion or comfort. It was about choosing each other, again and again, even when the path was uncertain. Michael's reappearance had not erased their problems, but it had given them a chance to rebuild, to forge a stronger foundation than before. And as for Drew, he remained a cherished friend, a reminder that sometimes, love means letting go. In the end, Willow's heart led her back to Michael. Not out of obligation, but because despite everything, he was still the one who felt like home. Their journey was far from over, and new challenges would undoubtedly arise. But for the first time in a long while, they faced the future together, united by a love that had been tested and tempered by time. And as for Drew, His role in Willow's life had been pivotal, a catalyst for growth and self-discovery.